Sponsored by Baked Good. Fact: Baked Good delivers delicious homemade sweet and savory treats to Accra and Tema on Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays. You can pre-order via WhatsApp at 05595 30588 or on Instagram via DM at BakedGoodGH.
Hello and welcome to the Wonder League podcast. As usual, I'm your host OG, with PM and SG. What's good, fellas?
I'm doing okay. I'm ready to witness another, something that usually happens every week when OG cheats for SG, but I'm just here to witness.
Excuses being made already. Yo, I'm good. Let's go.
It's way too early. All right, before we get into anything, PM, any announcements? Question for the week? Floor is yours.
Yeah. Last week's winner, Aliu, congratulations. You haven't come for your prize, so we are just keeping it in our pockets. We don't mind keeping the money. When you come for it, we'll give it to you. But to this week's question, very simple. We encourage everyone to enter. Who has kept the most clean sheets in the Premier League era? Who has kept the most clean sheets in the Premier League era? Once again, Instagram, DM, give us your answers, or just comments below if you are watching on YouTube. Either way is fine.
As usual, guys, this is being recorded as Gameweek 26 is ongoing. Few double game weeks coming up for Gameweek 27. We have City and Southampton. Guys, how are you feeling for Gameweek 27?
Feeling fine, my man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they didn't see that one coming. Let's move on to the certified clean sheets. All right, we're just going to get straight to it because I think by this time we all know who the real deals are. PM, best keeper for Game Week 27.
Manchester City is playing 2 games, so I would go for a Manchester City goalkeeper. Not because I think he will perform fantabulously in both games, but more because the second game is against Southampton, and I expect them to do very well against Southampton. So definitely going to do well against Southampton, I hope. And then if he does anything against United, it's a bonus. So Ederson.
It's a bonus, right? Okay. Yeah, straightforward. SG, anything to add there?
No, not really. It's that you go for the double game weekend. There's only City and Southampton are playing twice. Ederson has 2 chances.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
It's really that simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Moving on to solid defenders. SG, are there any team defenders? And, let's even talk about City whilst we're at it. Last I checked, I think Stones played today. Diaz started. SG, City rotation. Can anyone figure it out?
I don't think so. I was very surprised that Joao Cancelo didn't even play today.
That's what
given his recent form for City, that he's reminiscent of Trent Alexander-Arnold last season, and the way City is utilizing him, and there's different areas he can pop up in. But as you can see, he didn't play today, and that's interesting. I think only Pep Guardiola knows who he's going to play at any given time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So, with that said, are there any other teams you think listeners should pick up defenders from, or drop for Game Week 27?
Well, for Game Week 27, looking strictly at these fixtures, Spurs Crystal Palace is one that stands out to me. Crystal Palace, that's anomalous last game aside, have been struggling for goals, especially with their talisman injured and Wilfred Zaha. So playing against a Spurs team, a compact Spurs team who have had some good luck recently in the Europa League, and kept a couple of clean sheets. Maybe they're starting to get their forms together, looking more like a Mourinho defense. So I can see some Spurs defenders getting a clean sheets from that game. So that's one place I'll look.
Okay.
Other than that, I would consider Villa. Villa has sneakily been a very good defensive team this season. This season, Target and Minks specifically, they don't let if they score first, they don't lose games or concede often if they score first. And this is a tight game against Wolves that I can see them I could conceivably see as a 0-0 game, but maybe not. And I can see if one person, I'd pick Villa to win over Wolves, and that kind of convinces me that their defenders might be worth a shout this week.
Yeah, that's a really good point. PM, coming back at you, give me your starting four at the back.
Well, I don't have four because why are you picking four defenders? I have three.
Hey, man.
But so I'm looking at Stuart Dallas because he's relatively valuable for how much he costs. Have John Stones double week. You have to go for a City defender, so it's either Stones or Diaz. And I think overall Diaz is the better defender, but Stones gives you almost the same value in terms of recent form. I think they are just about the same. They actually both scored today, I believe. And the last guy I'm picking is Kieran Tierney because he's Arsenal's best defender, and he's picked up a bit of a form. Europa League, he scored a goal to bring Arsenal level 2-2, and they're playing Burnley. I don't really believe there are any home and away games anymore, and in a neutral venue, I really expect Arsenal to beat Burnley, so I'm picking Tierney. The only question is, will he start? Because he only just came back from injury and has played 90 minutes against City when you didn't expect him to, and also played another 90 minutes against Benfica. So will he start? If he does start, and I hope he will, I'm definitely going for Tierney.
SG, are there anyone you believe PM missed out on you want to throw in there real quick for the listeners?
I'm looking at Serge Aurier, not specifically because he's really that good or anything, but for this game week they're playing Crystal Palace, and I like him as an outlet. I see a clean sheet and potential for an assist or something from him. So he's someone I'd be interested in for this game week in particular. But other than that, I concur mostly with what PM was saying. I'll be picking. If for my lineup, I'll pick Diaz.
Okay.
I'll pick Diaz because he's playing. He's probably going to play twice. I think he's been one of as constant as you can get in a Guardiola lineup. So if I had to pick, I think him. I'll pick targets from Aston Villa. He's been doing well, and they are playing Wolves pretty much for the same reason I mentioned Aurier too. So those are my three defenders.
Okay, great, solid lineup there. Moving on to midfield maestros. PM, your man came through last week with a goal and an assist, and you've been, we've been about him recently. But is he officially a must-have for all fantasy players?
Look, the era of Patrick Bamford is almost over. The next era is Harvey Barnes. If you don't have Barnes, I don't know what you are doing. Bring it back. The era of, okay, I can't do that. That's blasphemous, right? I'm just joking. But you have to have Harvey Barnes. You need to have Harvey Barnes because it's Barnes or Maddison, and I think there's a more likely chance that Maddison is not going to play because Premier League says there's an question of injury. I think he will play. It's just one of those things. But even if he does play, I really like Barnes over Maddison because, well, Barnes costs less, unless I'm mistaken, I believe. Actually, he does cost less. I know he does. And
he does. 6.9, I think.
Not by much, but he costs less.
Yeah.
And Maddison, there's question of whether he will play, and it's like, why go for the guy where there are question marks over his head? Definitely have Barnes.
Coming to you with this one, SG. I think you've been a big fan of Son and you've spoken a lot about him, but is it almost time to drop him? Do you think his run is coming to an end? Is Kane now the only one worth having on Spurs?
I still have some faith in Son. Jose Mourinho has set him for as of recording, for the last game in the Europa League. Think he's going to have a good game against Burnley, and then they play Fulham, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle in their next couple of games. I think it's a good chance for them to get back into some form, and Spurs need victories. Jose Mourinho with his back against the wall can be a very dangerous proposition, and the squad is making all the right sounds. There's no real sound of discontent as is usual with the Mourinho team. If things were going downhill, so that gives me faith that they might be turning a corner. So, in terms of midfielders, I'll still keep some faith in Son for the next couple of weeks.
Okay, but quick question: how many more? Like, how much patience do you have from him? How many more games of not doing enough until you say enough's enough? Drop him.
I'll give him maybe 4 more games. That's him facing Fulham, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, and Aston Villa. All great chances to get some good points and see if he's kicking into gear or not, if he's lost his touch.
PM, you spoke about Maddison being injured. I think SG's man Grealish is also out. What do you suggest the listeners do? Do you have any replacements you could throw out there for the listeners? Or just keep them in your team, be patient, whichever.
So, Grealish is out, and if you follow social media, you know that Grealish is a very good friend of a certain guy whose name is Saka. Saka also happens to be a very good player, so I suggest you move to the Saka, because he's actually the guy that Arsenal relies on right now. And why not pick the main man for Arsenal? They're still top team in quotes, but they are still a top team. Form is temporary, class is permanent. That's what I would move to. Saka. If you want value or unearth gems, I'll say look at Lookman.
Yeah.
There's a bar in there somewhere. But
slow it down.
I just dissed you. Lookman is you see, he's worth it. I think he's an unearthed gem. You come good.
Okay, and PM, real quick, your man Jota is almost back. How are you feeling about him? Should we start, figuring out how to get him in the team? Wait to see how he looks first few weeks before we jump on him, or?
The man's name is Jota. And I feel like if you're a Ghanaian, there's a bar in there, because of Jota. But anyway,
how?
I'll let SG finish.
Moving right past that, SG, give me best midfield lineup.
Well, people are hurting with Maddison, and I certainly have more of a soft spot for Maddison than Barnes. But like I've said previously, it's really hard to choose between those two. I think you can't go wrong either way. And if you have Maddison and need a replacement, right now it says 50% chance of playing. Usually if it's under 75%, I'm not confident from the Premier League. So if you're looking, apart from Saka, another interesting player is Rafinha. Rafinha has been playing pretty well for Leeds, and if you're watching him, he suddenly remembered he's Brazilian and he's playing like one. He's playing some really good football, and he's contributing a lot to the Leeds team. And Leeds comes to play. They're playing West Ham next, and then Chelsea. They're tricky fixtures, but Leeds, one thing you can count on them to do is always attack. So he's an interesting shout. Saka is also very worthy. No doubts about, no arguments from me there. So that's just another player you could consider if you're having trouble deciding. I've said it once, I said it twice. I'm still hyped on Pedro Neto. Wolves after this week, they're playing Villa, then Liverpool, West Ham, but he is their main man, and they can keep it solid at the back and sneak in with one goal or something. And if it's happening, it's always seems to be Neto.
Okay, great. And PM, how was your? I'm guessing you play 5 midfielders. What's your lineup looking like?
Damn straight. If you don't play 5, what's wrong with you? So my lineup is really looking like, something that came from the best barber in town, but it's really about Saka, De Bruyne, Barnes, Lookman, and Son. I think these are all guys I've touched on some point of the podcast. Perhaps the only person I haven't touched on is Kevin De Bruyne, and we all know why you pick Kevin De Bruyne, but especially this week because it's a double game week.
Yeah. Great. That brings us to the end of this round. We have SG in the lead, up for 1 or 2 rounds to go. And as my man PM always says, it only makes the comeback greater.
No, that's not what I say. I say you are cheating for him.
Yeah, I never had that one. Wrong combo. All right, moving on to the deadly forwards. PM coming to you with this one. Antonio versus Ollie Watkins. Make a case for one of them.
Honestly, yeah. It's very easy for me. It's Antonio because I said at the beginning of the season, and I know at some point I said I don't expect him to score that many goals, but Ollie Watkins, he looks like, when you look at his pedigree, you look at how he runs, you look at how he carries himself on the field, he looks like someone who is still finding his way in the Premier League. And whereas Mika Antonio looks like, it's just another day in his office. It doesn't look like he's trying as hard.
Yeah.
But Ollie Watkins, you see that he's putting all his efforts in there. He knows that if I don't, someone might supplant me. They might get another better striker next season. But Antonio feels secure. He looks like the nigga who's been in a relationship with his girlfriend for about 15 years and doesn't plan to propose, and he feels fine.
That is funny. Well, SG, I know Ollie Watkins was your man. Do you have any comeback to
I do like Watkins, but I think I think Antonio is more guaranteed now, mainly because Aston Villa have lost their spark without Jack Grealish, and Watkins is not the man to consistently find that. Granted, Watkins has the easier run of fixtures coming up, so he might still be a decent pickup. He might still perform well in the upcoming fixtures because he has an easier time than Antonio. But Antonio is proven. Antonio will give anyone a hard time. It doesn't matter who he's playing. So I think gun to my head, I'm picking Antonio for the next couple of weeks over Watkins.
Right.
At least while there's no creativity behind Watkins.
Okay, great. And sticking with you, SG, give me your 3-man forward lineup for Game Week 27.
I think for next week, I'm definitely picking Kane. They're playing Crystal Palace. I see a goal coming in there. Probably him. West Ham is prone to conceding even if they are not going to lose. And so I can see Bamford also scoring a goal.
Right.
Scoring a goal against West Ham, especially with how Leeds play. 2 very exciting games. 2 very exciting teams to watch this season. So I'll pick him too. And last but not least, for my third and final forward, yeah, I mean he's Saka is playing influentially, and he's given him some peaches of late, and Aubameyang is rediscovering his form. I think he's gaining more confidence with the last couple of performances. Again, Burnley is tough to play with our man, or should I say PM's main man, Nick Pope in the goal, but I still think Aubameyang has something about him for the week. So,
okay,
those are my picks.
All right, PM, what about you?
Well, apart from Patrick Bamford, the other 2 guys you should pick is Harry Kane from Spurs, and this is a wild card, a wild one. I'm gonna just throw this one in there because many of y'all ain't gonna see this coming. But you gotta have that OG, not you, Olivier Giroud. You gotta have Olivier Giroud in your team, man. If you saw that bicycle kick, he scored at the weekend, during the week for Chelsea.
Right.
Oof, that was something else. Against Atletico Madrid, one of the meanest defenses in the whole of Europe. I didn't expect it. Not necessarily in terms of I didn't expect Giroud to do that. I didn't expect Chelsea to dominate that game the way they did.
Right.
But yeah, Giroud, top notch, top ramen, top shelf.
Last but not least, moving on to captains. Give me your top 3 picks for Gameweek 27 and the one you will be going with, SG.
Well, I think KDB is a no-brainer this week. Playing twice against United against United and against Southampton. I have to pick him as the overall captain. But the other two I'll be looking at are Son, because as I said, I expect a clean sheet from Spurs. So clean sheets plus a goal threat from midfield. I just Son over Kane for me, in that fixture. And then last but not least, Salah, because he's playing Fulham. And Fulham are a good team, but they're capable of shoring up things. But I know Liverpool are hurting, looking to play to rediscover some of their form. And Salah seems to be the most consistent, even in this poor season. So,
okay. PM.
An urban Caucasian poet once said, "You stick out of the crowd. It's a no-brainer. If you don't pick Kevin De Bruyne, I don't know what you're doing, because they have a double game week. Kevin De Bruyne is the man for Man City. Let's face it. The guy will start in midfield. He will start as the false number 9. Pep Guardiola will do whatever he needs to do to put that man on the field,
Right.
Even if maybe they have too many players, he will give that man a referee shirt and let him stand on the field and pretend to be a referee, do whatever it takes. So it's kind of obvious. I think the other questions are irrelevant. And the other 2 captains you're going to select are irrelevant. Right. But if you put a gun to my head, as the man SG said, I'm probably picking Raheem Sterling, because I always do that. And who's the other guy I'm picking is probably going to be another Man City player.
Okay.
But for the sake of keeping it interesting, because strikers don't get you as many points as strikers, I'll put a sneaky Danny Ings as my number 3. But truthfully, it's never really a realistic option that I'm going to captain Danny Ings. I don't even have him in my lineup. But yeah.
Right. Okay, great. That brings us to the end of the round. SG with a shot, boy. PM.
You know how we do.
PM, how are you feeling this week?
How am I feeling this week is how I feel all the time, You cheated for him and he won.
You're just going to feel that way every week, huh?
And if you keep cheating every week, I'll feel that way every week.
We're going to have to start a side bet on how long it will take him to just acknowledge that he's losing for a reason, not because he's being cheated against, but
it's not because I'm being.
It's just how I do. You know how I do.
It's not because I'm being cheated against. It's because you are being cheated for.
Sure.
Oh, man. Listen. One day, PM. One day. Listen. I have to give you credit. You do look better and better each week.
MTM number 0244. You can send it to me.
All right. PM, would you be so kind to take us through the giveaway for last week and the winners?
Yeah, before that though, I just want to mention, Ali, you make sure you contact us and get your money. But let's get it moving. So last week's question was, who has the most appearances in Premier League history? The correct answer would have been Gareth Barry. I hope you guys answered Gareth Barry. Anyone who answered Gareth Barry would have been entered in the draw.
Right.
But if you didn't, there's still another question this week. You can just go back to the beginning of the podcast and listen to the question there and answer that one this week. Before I announce the winner for last week, I just want you to remember, to enter, you have to be a subscriber to our YouTube channel. And you have to have a government-issued ID and be above the age of 18, because that's how we disperse the money. If you don't have an ID, just make sure you know someone who has an ID and can collect the money on your behalf. We don't mind that at all. And one more stop before I announce the winner. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Google. Subscribe on Apple. Subscribe everywhere, anywhere that you get podcasts. It's very important. Subscribe. And without much further ado, let's get to it. The winner of this week's prize of $10 is... Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm not... Should I slaughter the name? Let me slaughter. SG, do you want to
go
try?
for it, please.
Please.
You got this.
It's Emeka Ahanonu.
That's right. Let's go. Emeka Ahanonu. If I got it wrong, let's blame SG. It wasn't me. I'm just repeating.
Right.
Emeka. Congratulations.
Emeka.
Make sure you contact us and we'll get you your money pronto.
Yeah.
See the fans we are flowing you.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like we should collect commission.
Yeah, we need our cut.
It's hard work. But we'll talk about that one later.
All right. Okay,
don't
great.
spend it all in one place, Emeka.
Yeah, please don't. Save, invest, buy some stocks, watch it crash, the usual.
Please. Go and buy. Life is too short. So go and enjoy it.
Okay, with that said, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Winner League Podcasts. It's your boy, OG, SG, and PM signing out. Best of luck next week, and stay safe, wear your mask.